What is up, YouTube? That's here, and today I'm doing another VGC Patreon team fixing. Today we're taking a look at a hard Trick Room team that uses an old favorite Final Gambit Annihilate with Rillaboom Tyranitar, Mental Herb Cresselia, Iron Hands, and Blood Moon Ursaluna. Like I said, this is a Patreon team fixing. If you guys have a team you guys want to submit on Patreon for me to take a look at and fix, make a video about it, make a stream about it, think about checking out the Patreon team submission post. It's linked in the description. I'm going to try my best to get to all the teams this time. You know, we usually get a lot, but I'm doing at least one a day, so I'm going through these as fast as I can. Today's team, though, is going to be down here from Zero. They say, hey, thank you for opening up submission fixes again. I really appreciate you doing this. They've been really liking this team, and they've been doing well with it overall, but it can be inconsistent. It's designed for playing best of one closed team sheet. This is a hard Trick Room team. I love how descriptive their write-up is. It says exactly what they want, exactly where they're trying to use it, and exactly what they are expecting it out of it. They say they're inconsistent, so they want to improve that consistency. They say they're playing it in closed team sheet, and they're saying it's a hard Trick Room team. And then they're also saying their main strategy. They have a Pokemon breakdown. So I really like this. They say where the team struggles versus Amoonguss, it struggles versus Imprison. There's a lot of things to actually gain from their submission posts I think are really important. So I want to say thank you so much to Zero for being so descriptive in your submission. And hopefully, by playing some games with this team, which is what we're going to do in just a moment, I'll be able to understand how to better fix those issues and then maybe make some small changes. I think a lot of these mons are really close to being right. I think the Rillaboom, it might not be the right pick for the team overall. I'm going to have to play some games with it, but it's okay. I don't think it necessarily does anything that Iron Hands doesn't already do, but you can see this Iron Hands spread needs a little bit of defense and just a little bit of bulk. The T-Tar spread can probably be optimized, but on a banded T-Tar, maybe like they said maybe using Vest here, and that's definitely something they could do, but I like the band. Cresselia can be slightly optimized. I think Blood Moon can definitely be optimized. You're wasting some of your points here in HP. You're not splitting up into a 4-4. Has a little bit too much special attack. The Ape can be optimized as well. I think there's a lot of things that we could do differently with this team. But going back to the rental code, I think this is a really cool team. If you guys want to use this rental code in your games, you're going to get a lot of wins on ladder. In Master Ball rank, this team can get you to Master Ball very easy. This team has a very safe way of getting up Trick Room with Fake Out users / Final Gambit users paired next to a Mental Herb Crest. You're going to get Trick Room up almost every time as long as you're not playing against Imprison. So think about trying this rental code in your own games. But yeah, I'm going to play some games with this team, and then what we're going to do is we're going to fix the team and do any changes that I want to make, and then we're going to actually play even more games with the fixed version on Showdown. So this is a series that you like. If you want to support without actually supporting on the Patreon, think about leaving a like, think about leaving a comment, and without further ado, let's get right onto the battles. Wish me luck. Here we go. Okay, here we go. What is this thing? The Spider with Revival Blessing. I think that thing probably does get Expanding Force. It gets like Imprison, bunch of cool stuff. This is hard Trick Room, and as the Trick Room player, as a hard Trick Room player in this matchup, what we want to do is actually punish them, because they're like a harder Trick Room. They're using like, you know, Ursaluna, Torkoal Hat. What we actually want to do is just keep the Trick Room right out of reach of them, and if they do Trick Room, well then we're fine. So we can actually still lead things like Ape. I think that's still probably a decent lead. They could definitely go Waterpon. What's the perfect play? I want to check out this Blood Moon. Blood Moon is normal Terra. I think that's a good lead. So we can just absolutely like melt their lead like this. I really like that a lot. And I think Crest is going to be good. What's our Terra on the Crest? Our Terra is Grass Terra. Ooh, I don't like that. I understand the reason for it, but it just doesn't work here versus Torkoal. Booster Hands is too dicey. I'm going to bring the Ape. I don't think I'm going to let them get up the Trick Room. And if I do, I think I can probably flip it back. I like this. So this is going to be a crash course in beating other hard Trick Room teams for this first game. Wow, this is not what I expected on the ladder today. So yeah, I do think there are a few things I would change about this team. I think a good Trick Room team actually needs two different setters that have polar opposite weaknesses. So, you know, we're featuring Cresselia as our main Trick Room setter. We want to add something that doesn't have that ghost weakness, doesn't have that dark weakness, things like that, doesn't have that bug weakness, and is preferably good against those type of Pokemon. So there's that Waterpon, just like I said, they're leading that to disincentivize Ape. They can go like Follow Me, Trick Room with the Entity. They can go with so many different things here. We're basically going to be put into a 50-50 here as to what we would like to terrastalize. And if we call it right, we win the game. There's a good shot Blood Moon just eats an Ivy Cudgel. So I'm going to Terrastalize the T-Tar. Yeah. So we're going to Hyper Voice here. And we're going to Terrastalize the T-Tar. And we're going to try and get this... we're trying to stop the Entity from Trick Rooming. I just want to make sure. Did the Entity get a Psychic Seeds boost? It did not. Cool. Alright. Blood Moon's faster. We could also just go with... Realistically, we also could have just clicked like Blood Moon and like a hard knockoff, but what if the Entity went like Fairy Terror? That'd be kind of dicey. So let's see. We should have enough damage here. Banded T-Tar ain't no slouch, and I wonder if they know that. I wonder if they know that T-Tar is like the real threat. I'm hoping they go after this T-Tar slot. We're also not seeing a Torkoal pivot or anything weird like that. Ivy Cudgel into Survey says... Yo, we called it right. It wasn't even like we called it right. There was specific reasons behind what we did. So we should be able to... Ooh, we crit the Entity. We just got to hit it. Survey says... Rock Slide double hit. Oh my goodness. Nice Trick Room team you got over there. It'd be a shame if I just never ever let it go up for any reason. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we take those. We do be taking those. And a little thing about this is we're starting to see a little bit of... like why they targeted down the T-Tar. That must be whatever they have in the back probably doesn't have like the best T-Tar matchup. So it's gonna be the spider guy, you know, the psychic bug. Kind of, that's what I was trying to allude. Like, it doesn't have the best T-Tar matchup. Those two mons aren't like amazing into T-Tar. You can protect here, but as long as we stop you from getting up Trick Room, we should be fine. So let me think of the best way to do that. They haven't Terra'd here yet. I'm gonna click Hyper Voice again. And I'm thinking about, I could just Rock Slide, but what Terra would that bug guy have? I want to knock off it. Like, I want that slot just donezo. If you Fairy Terra, I mean, Fairy Terra's a good Terra on that thing. Rock Slide would be able to get the KO, but you wouldn't Fairy Terra it. You don't know that I'm knockoffing. Oh, I'm Toy Span. Why do I even care? They were talking about using a vest instead of a band. I like the Rock Slide here. Rock Slide's still really solid. They're protecting and get up their Guts proc, and that's completely fine. And, we should just be able to double tap this guy as long as we hit our Rock Slide. It worked for us last time, right? Here we go. Big Hyper Voice. Thing's pretty chonky. And see, we see Citrus maybe? Nope. And do we hit? Survey says Rock Slide. Let me get these wins. Let's go Rock Slide. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, they tried the super hard Trick Room route. And I really like Trick Room teams like this one that are more middle of the pack. This is how I like to play against other Trick Room teams. You just bully them for their 100% reliance on Trick Room, and we can just kind of play outside of Trick Room if we feel like it. So I'm going to pivot out this T-Tar, I think. Just going to go for a big Blood Moon here. And we're going to pivot in probably just Cress. Cress is pretty good into it. Ooh, I'm going to go into Ape. Just to flex, bro. Just to flex. Be like, bro, it's Ape time. I'm going Ape. If they want to Earthquake, that's fine. If they want to do anything weird, that's fine. I can Final Gambit them too. Watch. We're going to block this fat facade. It's going to be the coolest thing ever. Here we go. Big damage. Like, Rock Slide could have KO'd, but, like, this is the flex play. This is the flex play. Come on. Oh, they hit their Blood Moon. Good play. Dude, I wanted it. You can't tell me I didn't want it. I wanted it. Good targeting there. Realizing that our T-Tar kind of had to be banded, so we were going to be using a not very effective move for the rest of the game. Still, really, really good play from our opponent. I just wanted to flex with the Ape. I'm still gonna Final Gambit. The flex play would be to, like, side Final Gambit my own T-Tar. And, like, let him take out from burn or something, you know? It doesn't really matter, though. I will Final Gambit him. What's he gonna do? Actually, he hasn't Terra'd yet. He probably has Ghost. I'm not gonna do that. We're just gonna U-turn, because, like, that would be enough to KO anyways. That was against. We take those wins. Yeah, I mean, we had to play it correctly at the end, but we do take those wins. Pretty easy first game. Obviously, that's not like a matchup we're going to see that common, but that is how I would handle the matchup. Again, just keeping Trick Room right out of range, bringing him on to, like, flip the Trick Room back in the back if you need it. That's why we were with the Crest, and bringing the Ape there. I think Ape is a good pivot, and if we would have lost him on early, like, let's say we did stop Trick Room turn 1, but they KO'd one of our mons, we would have then just brought out Ape and then really, really bullied with that Final Gambit. So pretty good stuff for game 1. Alright, this is a little bit more standard. We have, like, Gouging Fire, Waterpon, one of the best, most safe defensive leads in the game right now. King Gambit, Rillaboom, Shenpao Flutter, really, really good stuff. Let's try and do that little exercise where we try and pick what their items are. Starting with Gouging Fire, it's most commonly built booster, especially when paired with, like, a Waterpon. And so since it's booster, that's going to disincentivize the Flutter from being booster, which means the Flutter is probably going to be spexed. So by knowing what our Gouging Fire is, that means we also know our Flutter item, right? You see how that kind of works? A DC, a communication error. I've never gotten that error message, but remember they had Gouging Fire. I just want to do this exercise anyways. They had Gouging Fire with booster, and because that booster would have to be there, they know that it wouldn't be on the Flutter, so Flutter has to be specs. The Waterpon has to have the Wellspring Mass. The King Gambit could hold a few different items, but most commonly going to be vested, but I think they had a Rillaboom as well. So that means the King Gambit's most likely not vested because that has to be on the Rillaboom, right? Do you see how that works? Because the Rillaboom, like, if we take it and put the vest and we had to, like, match it somewhere, it'd most commonly go on that Rillaboom, so that means the King Gambit would have been Black Glasses, the Rillaboom would have been AV, and the Shenpao would have been Sash. And knowing all of those 6 items, generally, if you're familiar with the meta, you would then know the 6 moves and the 6 Terra types and the 6 rough EV spreads that go with those items. And so basically, if you are experienced enough to know what the common items are and then what that leads to, you can, and again, you can look up these things, these usage stats on like Pokemon Home, Pikalytics, all those different websites that show that sort of stuff. You can generally play open team sheet battles against standard teams with like them not knowing your team. It's so good. It's so good. It's all an experience thing. I probably shouldn't even include this, but yeah, I've never really seen this error happen right there, but we're going to go into another game. All right, so let's do that exercise again. Hopefully this person doesn't DC. Wellspring Mask has to have the Wellspring, right? It has to have that item. So there are roughly 5 common Sash users, but if we had to like match the Sash somewhere, I would say it's most common on Shenpao, right? And so if it's going to be Shenpao that's Sash, that means that none of these other guys can have Sash, because you can only have 1 per team. So that means what's the Whim's going to have? Well, that's probably going to be a Covert Cloak, right? Because that's what Whim's other common item. Maybe you sometimes see Rocky Helmet, you sometimes see like some other weird things, but I would say Cloak was a common item there. The Urshi, you can kind of tell this looks to me like an Urshi water, because it looks to be scarfed. It could be AV, which is kind of nuanced and coming up in tech right now, but I think it's going to be a scarf Urshi. If it's Urshi Dark, I still think there's a good chance that it's scarfed. I think the Flutter is going to be a booster here. It's the only Paradox Pokemon, which means it's Specs or Scarf. I think it's Specs because we're talking about Scarf on the Urshi, on the Chi-Yu. So that being said, we've used most of our team preview to talk about their items. Let's just get up our Trick Room and be fine. I think we're going to lead Cress. I think Cress Fake Out will get us what we want. But the question is, like, who do I want to Fake Out with? I like hands. I'm going to go with these 2. And then pop here and pop here. I don't think we need Rillaboom here. Rillaboom is actually the one Pokemon in this team that is not required. I think I was talking about it a little bit in the first game, but roughly, you don't necessarily need like multiple Fake Out setters. You need to be able to threaten Fake Out on Hard Trick Room, but you don't actually need 2 Fake Out setters or 2 Fake Out Mons. Terrain is actually counterproductive to what we're trying to do here with the Sandstorm, in my opinion. You actually need a second Trick Room setter, in my opinion. So Whimsicott, Fluttermane, so we know we can't Fake Out that Whimsicott. We know that we can't. And so they're going to be able to taunt us. And note that they also selected the Whimsicott in the first slot, so like they know that they need Whimsicott to beat us. But that being said, I'm just going to Heavy Slam the Fluttermane. I think we have Heavy Slam, right, please? Thank goodness. Okay, you do. Oh, that's a big attack hands. That's full attack hands to do with the booster. So yeah, we're just going to get this Trick Room. Remember, we are Mental Orb, so Trick Room's up. And we could Terra here into Fairy to not be super weak. There's nothing wrong with that. We don't need Terra on any of our other mons. So you know what? I'll do it. It's not required, but it's greatly going to speed up the game. If you can get a KO on the first turn in a hard Trick Room game, you're going to be able to speed that game up so much. Right now they're thinking like, bro, I'm going to go Fairy Terra on this Fluttermane. I'm going to pop this hands because it's not AV, and hopefully I don't die, right? But hopefully I don't die, right? You know what I mean? They might be trying to nuke the Crest too. But honestly, I think we're going to be okay. So here we go. I wonder if they're just going to go like Taunt Crest and then like Moonblast, which I think we eat both of those. And then we just like a Lunar Blessing, hit the Whims next turn. It's going to be so nice. And again, we're able to make this play and analyze their moves and analyze their board state based off of the 6 mons that were shown and where their items have to be. Right? We don't need to go for a Fake Out. We don't need to go for this. We don't need to go for that. Sunny Day is scary AF. Hands might die. Won't die to a D-Gloom though. Yep, there's the special attack boost. Dazzling won't die to a D-Gloom. I mean, I don't know. I'm not vested right now. I'm not a hands aficionado. Yep, we eat those. Just barely, but we do eat those. You're done. You're done. And Trick Room's up. And that's going to be really good. Really, really good. So, Flutter goes down. That's their Terra down turn 1. I'm very, very happy with that, terrestrialization here for me. I also think I could have just like read that and just like Fake Out of their Flutter turn 1. Whoo, that would have been sick. I don't want to Fake Out the Whims, because that's definitely like a Cloak Whims play. So Shenpao's going to be here. Yeah, I can just Lunar Blessing this, I think. Lunar Blessing. And you definitely go after the Whims. At this point, you just want to speed up the game as much as possible. There's no point in trying to like potentially bluff like a Drain Punch into a Shenpao. They might even Ghost Terra. Actually, they can't Terra. They already Terra their Flutter. But yeah, I think you just go after. You try and get as many KOs as possible here. And we have great mons to be able to... Yeah, Encore. We have one of those really, really good items called a Mental Herb. And normally, in this situation, if you don't have Mental Orb Crest, you would want to swap out your Crest and not get Encore Trick Roomed. They think they're so freaking cool here, but yeah, we're still good, right? Oh! Bad play. That sucks. I didn't think that was going to KO. Am I wrong for thinking that would KO? Not KO? Yeah, this is why you got to have some defense investment in your hand still. You got to have some. This hand set is 28. I'll show you guys the hand set right here. It's 28 in HP and big spadef. Full attack, you do not need full attack hands. And so you got to put some of that in defense. So, future reference. Let's think about what I want to do here, though. T-Tar's good. These are good mon. Ursulune is not the right mon here yet. I think T-Tar's correct. And I don't really see an issue with just like spamming Lunar Blessing, but I'm gonna try and Psychic the Whims because I want that off the board this turn. You can go for a Sunny Day, but I like will... let me think about that. Helping Hand would actually probably just be fine. Yeah. It's good. Good enough. You can Encore the Crest, like what I'll just Lunar Blessing, which is kind of like fine anyways. Good Ice Shard there. Are you banded, Shempao? We're going to find out right now. If you're Ice Sharding, that means you're banded. Which isn't a bad set either. They're banded. Cool. Yeah, that's why it KO'd the hands. So, you're done. Is this Sash Whims then? It is Sash Whims. Hey, you know, I can be wrong sometimes too. I can be wrong in my team preview analysis, but at the end of the day, we're still okay. Very surprised to see that. Them like, I could have just fake outed, bro. I could have just fake outed that Whimsicott turn 1, but we're good. And they're going to get buffed out by the Sandstorm, and we still have a lot of turns of Trick Room. We still have a Blood Moon in the back. The Ice Shard Shempao's gone. They could bring out the Urshi. I think Urshi or Waterpon are the play here. And Blood Moon's great into those if we have Trick Room control. Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu's not great here. I think in this situation, we're just going to Lunar Blessing. And T-Tar 100% checks Chi-Yu. So yeah, T-Tar like super busted. This guy got Trick Room again. And let's see if they have a Protect. I don't think they should unless they're orbed. Yeah, they're not even going to show it. They're probably choice specs. So we're going to take that win all the way to the bank. And yeah, that's great. That's a great game to just showcase how this team kind of works when you're wearing up. This guy, like that guy also, I don't know if I showed it, was like a top 1,000 player. So like they had a good team, right? But like we basically took that KO on the first turn, right? And sped up the fact that, like, now that you only have 3 mons, one of them was a choice managed Shempao, like, there's no way you wait out this Trick Room. They went all in on being able to Encore a Trick Room, and our Mental Orb just solved it. People really sleep on Mental Orb Crest. If you have a good defensive Terra typing, or a good fake outing partner, or maybe even a redirection mod or something like that, there's not that many things they can actually do to stop the TR other than Imprison. So that was one of the things they talked about on their team submission post, was Imprison gives you some problems. I feel like you kind of just have to take that L or fake out those things. One thing I was thinking about actually doing was adding like a booster speed flutter here with Imprison to like imprison their Imprison so they can't imprison. And you can Trick Room, but then you'd be left with like a fast flutter. It'd be kind of bad. But at the end of the day, I do think I have a good partner to add, and we're going to play one more game because we played a couple fast ones, and then we'll actually get into the meat and potatoes of the team building. So let's go play another one. All right, so let's go into this one. Bolt balance for the most part. Very, very standard bolt balance. Let's try and do the exercise where we pick what items they have. None of these guys have to use a specific item, but I do think we're going to see a booster on either the flutter or the bolt. That would definitely tell us a little bit more about their set. It's definitely possible there's like that AV bolt booster flutter. It could also be like a booster bolt, like Sash flutter or Specs flutter. I think it's going to be Sash Shempao. I think it's going to be a Scarf Urshi Water here. Getting big Urshi Water vibes. Probably Citrus and Sin, Rocky Helmet and Mungus. It can always be like Vested in Sin, Citrus and Mungus as well. Could be even Safety Goggles and Sin. Probably actually Safety Goggles and Sin with a Citrus and Mungus. And then I'm actually thinking it's AV Bolt with like a booster flutter. That's just kind of how I'm looking at it here. I definitely want the Trick Room up here, and I think I'm going to go Annihilate. I think I am going to lead Annihilate. It's so weird, but I do like it here. Annihilate Crest is good. And then I'm going to bring Hands, and I will bring the T-Tar. And I like T-Tar. I like that we're Grass on the T-Tar. I think Grass T-Tar is really good into Urshi Water. It's great into a Mungus. We should be in a good spot here. One thing I want to note here is that, like, you can see again, we're not necessarily utilizing Rillaboom that much. And another thing that I think is really important to note about this team is that our Annihilate set. This might come to bite us this game, but note that we have Double Dip Ghost on a situation which you would never really Terra. You need to make this Grass Terra, right? So you can actually still go through Rage Powder. Because, like, if they led a Mungus and Raging Bolt, I would love to be able to like Final Gambit their Raging Bolt and right now we can get redirected, which I don't really like. Yes, we're immune to the Spore because we have Battle Spirit, but we're not immune to redirection. So that's going to be Urshi, Water, and Incin, just like we said. So we're going to be able to get up this Trick Room for the most part. They can go fake out Cress, but then they, like, we're fine. Actually, let me think about this. Is this actually, like, hold on. I kind of want to do this. What if, does that work? I mean, it would work. They're faster than this too. Are they though? We're jolly. No, we're faster than them. I can just hit them here. Final Gambit goes in here. I was going to say, I want to soak damage from the Searching Strikes and then just Rage Fist them, but I think this is correct here, because we do not care about that Incineroar. We're just going to try and get the Trick Room off. Cool. And you can totally be like Scarfed or something weird. I think that mostly, though, those Scarf Urshi Waters are built Adamant, which means their 97 base speed isn't doing as much as they really need it to do. Let's see what they got. Yeah, we're still faster. See, I mean, Final Gambit Ape does Final Gambit Ape things. Nice terastallization, though. I appreciate you. And you note that you're not fake outing. So it doesn't sink and Parting Shot all at once. They probably thought we were going to be Covert Cloak Crest. Maybe if they did a little exercise, be able to analyze what our items were, they would have seen that that's probably just not what we would want. If we really wanted to avoid fake out, Taunt's fine. We have the Mental Herb. They have the ultimate tech, and we have the ultimate FU back to them, right? Are we going to see a DC? Like, that's a pretty good first turn. I don't know, man. That was a pretty good first turn. I'm going right into the Tyranitar, I think. I think T-Tar is going to be a good mon here. Hands is good to close out the game, I think. Because, like, I'm just going to Helping Hand. Blow up the Incin, blow up the Flutter, mess up the Shempow, get that Sand going strong. Amoonguss, we have the Grass Terra, right? We're absolutely fine here. One thing I want to talk a little bit about on this T-Tar set, though, let's take a look at these EVs again, is we have speed reduced, but we're not 0 speed. So that Incin might still underspeed us, which I don't want. If he gets up a Parting Shot, that's really bad. He should just be getting KO'd. So you need to make this T-Tar 0 speed. You need to get this Hands to be as low as possible. You need to get this Crest as low as possible. I know you only get your 1 Blood Moon, but on these mons where you can have 0 speed, you should definitely try and be as low as possible on a hard Trick Room team like this. So we're going to go Grass Terra, and we're going to go Helping Hand Grass Terra. Please let us underspeed this Incin, because that would be great. That would be great. Hey, and you know what? If we don't underspeed the Incin, we definitely could underspeed the Incin if we were 0 speed reduced. Like, yes, Incin has 1 lower base speed than us, but they're not going to be speed reduced to 0 speed on their Taunt Incin, in my opinion. There's Helping Hand. And it's a little... That's one of the good things about these videos, is we can see these holes in the team, right, by fixing them. So, like, are we going to get punished? No. But we talked about it, and now we know. OHKOing the Incin, making sure they can't cycle a Parting Shot. Absolutely amazing. And the Amoonguss has Citrus. That means the Incin was most likely Goggles. So it's supposed to be able to pivot in on the Amoonguss, soak the Spore with the Goggles, and then retaunt it so you can't hit the teammate. I've talked about that before. Having mons that can basically take Amoonguss's effectiveness out of the game is so nice. So this turn they're going to Spore the Crest. I'll get 1 more Helping Hand, and we'll just basically win the game out of it. Shempow? Yep, there it is. Dude, it's almost like I play the game. It's almost like I play the game. Let's go Rock Slide, and 1 more Helping Hand. They might just scoop. Wouldn't be surprised. They can go protect Shempow and try and Spore the Crest, but, like, looks like they're not. So we'll take these wins as long as we hit this Rock Slide. Spore into the Crest. So remember, since Crest already used its move, it's going to have to be asleep for at least next turn. So we got to hit this Rock Slide into Shempow. Gotta hit this one. Survey says Rock Slide double hit. Never quit. There's the Sash. Sandstorm breaks it. We got the critical hit on the Shempow that we didn't even need. And yeah, we'll take those wins. So again, I think this team is really, really good. I do want to say this. You can just use this rental team. You're going to get wins. It's a good middle-of-the-pack Trick Room team to where, like, you don't need to set hard TR. Shoutouts to T-Tar for eating that, by the way. You don't need to set TR. You can bully other Trick Room teams. You have a safe, standard way to get up Trick Room with fake-out users, with Final Gambit users. It's a good team, right? Close team sheet, which is what they wanted it for. Great looking team. Has weather control, has appropriate levels of speed control, has good mons to close out with once you get up the Trick Room. I like a lot of things, but I do think there's a bunch of little things regarding like terastallizations, regarding EVs that we can fix. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a look at the rental code 1 more time, and then we'll get into the team fixing. And I just want to say thank you so much, actually, for submitting this team again. I think this is a really, really cool take on Trick Room, but the EVs need just, I think, a little bit of work. So we'll take a look at that. We'll go take a look at the rental code. And it's not that they're wrong, right? It's not. It's literally just that they can be like slightly optimized. I wouldn't necessarily say it's even wasting points. It's just like that little, you know, min-max difference. So again, really, really cool team. I love the T-Tar. I love the hands. Ape is still really good. Blood Moon's solid. Crest with a Mental Orb, very, very good mon. I like this a lot. The Rillaboom, though, is not actually contributing that much to the team. Like, think of anything Rillaboom would ever be able to contribute. Like, what does it be? Urshi Water? We just did that with an Annihilate, right? What is it going to do? Fake Out? We have an Iron Hands, right? We'd probably rather have Iron Hands. Also know that your Rillaboom doesn't have U-turn, so you can't even do the cool tech of, like, getting up Trick Room and then, like, going, like, Fake Out Trick Room and then, like, soaking a little bit of damage and going for, like, a U-turn out to bring in something safe, which would be the cool tech that Rillaboom could do if it had U-turn, kind of like how a Mousehold would do on a team like this. Mousehold could actually be a really cool mon on that in that slot, honestly, because like you threaten to go for like beat up Annihilate things, but at the same time, like, you know, you just go follow me Crest with Trick Room with like a safety goggles. That's really nice. So Mousehold actually could be a really solid option here that I didn't even think of until right now. But I do think there's a better option. So let's go into the team building and talk about what this team does right. Again, I like all of these mons. We're going to change some of the EVs, but I do think that the Rillaboom can be cut. I think that you would like to be cutting the Rillaboom here for a Porygon 2. And the reason we want Porygon 2 is because you need 2 Trick Room setters to make a hard Trick Room team work, in my opinion. If it's up to Cresselia to do 100% of the work, there will be matchups where Cresselia is garbage. It's just true, right? You don't want to have to, because they're basically hyper-focus your Cresselia, and they're like, bro, I have the in against their Cresselia. Like, against, like, another Final Gambit mon, your Cresselia is really, really sad, right? If they can do everything in their power to disincentivize Cresselia, you're going to be in for a bad time. And so also adding another Trick Room setter makes it so Cresselia's burden is alleviated a little bit, but also you can just bring it in the back and set Trick Room again, right? You can also now have the option to Trick Room your own Trick Room in Trick Room to get a fresh set of Trick Room. So let's say you lead like Ape Crest and you go Final Gambit Trick Room and then you bring out T-Tar and you play for like 2 or 3 turns with the T-Tar, and then you either like pivot in out T-Tar for Porygon 2 or T-Tar gets KO'd, you bring out Porygon 2, they're going to like, I'm going to double protect on this last turn of Trick Room and then I'm going to win. Well, when you read that double protect and you Trick Room with one of your mons, you reset the Trick Room you currently have, and on that same turn if you Trick Room with your other teammate, you get a brand new Trick Room. And so having that as an option is really important, in my opinion, on hard Trick Room teams. Another thing about Porygon 2, why we actually picked this one over something like a Bronzong or a Hatterene, is you want whatever mon you're using, right, to have a different defensive type than your main Trick Room setter. So this thing's weaknesses are things like Ghost. So we have a normal type to alleviate it, right? So Flutter has to pick, do I want to Shadow Ball this or do I want to, you know, Moonblast this? Then if I Moonblast this, that's not as effective into this. What if this had like a good defensive tear or something? You know, there's so many different things that you could go there. You want to force them into overcommitting to specific slots. Same thing, Porygon has a weakness to fighting. We want to add that Psychic type that would be able to cover up for that. Like, the only Pokemon that's really good into both of these is Urshi Dark, and like we can fight Urshi Dark. We have mons that can deal with that, right? So that being said, I think Porygon is a great mon. It gets a lot of really good abilities. Trace is good, Download's good, Analytics good. I like Trace. Personally, being able to trace back that Intimidate is humongous, but Download's the right one to do. Download's going to give you a +1 attack or special attack boost based on whatever the foe's weaker defense stat is, so it's really, really cool. It's really, really good with Porygon. People used to use it with like Return and Frustration back in the day and a bunch of other cool stuff like that, but Terra is really good because if you Terastallize, you can be like, if you get that attack boost, you can go for like big Ghost Terra Blasts into like Flutter Mains and like actually pop them if it's a physical one. So it's a cool item. Not cool item, it's a cool move. We want the EV item in this guy. It's going to give you a defense and SPDF boost of 1.5 if you're not a fully evolved Pokemon. That's why we're using something like Porygon 2 as opposed to something like Porygon Z. So Porygon 2 right here. With this, we want the Trick Room like we talked about. We want Recover, so you definitely want to be able to recover. This guy's super chonky. We want the Terra Blast. And I feel like this last move can be like 4 or 5 other things. If you're having problems with Lando, you can put Ice Beam. If you're having problems with like Urshi Waters, you can put Thunderbolts. There's just a lot of other things to do. I like Protect here in some situations because the thing only has to do like it's one thing. It just has to do its one thing. There's so many other moves you can put. Sleep Talk here. There are just so many things that you can do. Let's see, what do we want though? What's the perfect last move for this Porygon? Because it can do so many things. because you only really need Terra Blast, right? Terra Blast is going to be able to go for a different type. So like, oh, what if I have Terra Blast? I need to be able to hit ghosts, right? Well, you're going to have Terra Ghost on this thing. So you don't really need any other type. I think Ice Beam is the standard one. It's good into Insins. It's good into Dragonite. Well, Dragonite's not that big of a problem, but Insin, oh, sorry, did I say it's good into Insin? It's not good into Insin, but Terra Blast would be. Let's see, it's good into Rilla, but what is the right move here? Foul Play I've seen used before. Thunderbolt's not bad. You could just put Shadow Ball there. It's not terrible. It's hard to say what the best last move is. I like Ice Beam. I'm just going to put Ice Beam here. Cool. Ice Beam's a good move. And remember, this guy is not weak. 105 special attack. It's higher than like a Flygon. It's higher than like a Salamence. You want to max out this guy's HP stat first. And then from there, you want to think like, where do I want my points to be? You should try and make this thing speed reduce 0 speed if you can. It's going to be beneficial for how we want to play it. And we actually want more defense than like Spadef on this team, just because of how the meta works right now. Most of the monsters that threaten this guy, we talked about Urshifu being its main threat. We want to block that as effectively as possible. I think something like a 12-4, sorry, not 12-4, 12-244 wouldn't even be wrong. Maximizing that, right? I think there's nothing really inherently wrong there. I think that this Ice Beam, though, can be optimized. We want Recover, we want Trick 'em. I'm going to put Protect. Like, I like Protect on Porygon. I like it. I forcing people to, like, over-respect the Porygon. Weaving in that Protect, next turn going in the leftovers. I like it. I'm happy with this. This works for me. You basically just Terra Blast everything. And when you're not Terastallized, you just have a stab 80 base power move. It's good. Better than Tri Attack, right? So I like this set. I think it's very, very solid, and you're going to be able to get a lot of value off of this as a secondary Trick Room setter. And it's just going to force people to over-respect this as opposed to Crest. So like in matchups, I'm sure you've noticed that like you're like, dang it, if they have a fake out user, they can just fake out my Crest. Well, they can't fake out this thing. So if their only way to stop TR only is like fake out, well, you just do this guy, and then you do your Trick Room stuff. So that being said, good mon. T-Tar's EV spread can definitely be optimized, right? You want to start by making this a 0 speed, always do your speeds first. And then from there, I think you can just split it up into like a 244, and then a 4-4 spread right there. We don't really need, like, you could throw this last 4 in there in case you're using Terra Blast. Like, obviously, if you're like not, if you're like super intimidated, or you're just locked into it and you didn't Terra. Because, like, you know, this can miss. This is, like, sometimes not very effective. I mean, it's hard to say. Let's see. Let's get a better T-Tar spread. We can do this better. Let's see. What's a better way to do this? I think T-Tar only needs a specific... I think you only need about 212 on T-Tar to actually get the right amount of value. And then from there, if I'm playing T-Tar, what am I really afraid of? Flutters, I guess, but we have the weather. Because we need to soak a little bit of damage. Let's think. Grassy Glide, Rillaboom. So let's run some calcs there. So let's run like Rillaboom calcs and a Tyranitar. So this is potentially going up into like a T-Tar that, doesn't have Terra available. So like a 252 Adamant Grassy Glide Rillaboom. How much does this do into T-Tar? It does a lot. Let's give it 252, not 141. 252. It does a lot. We got to make grassy terrain. That's a lot of our health. We're going to have up here. What if they had, like, Miracle Seed, though? Not Miracle Berry, Miracle Seed. And then, like, if they Grass Terra double dip. So that can KO us. So, like, how much points would we need to make that not KO? It's actually not a ton. And knowing that that never KOs, that's a lot. I don't like that. That's not going to happen. What if they're just, like, Grass Terra without that? What if, like, Grass Terra AV? So that... I don't think KOs. That just can't KO. So that's good to know. What if we were to fight against... Let's think of like another Mon that we would be commonly fighting against with Tyranitar that we would be afraid of. Because we don't really have to put that many points in Spadef because we already have the Sandstorm boost. Let's look at an aggressive calc. Like, let's look at an offensive calc. Let's go to Urshiwater. And again, so you can see, like, I'm trying to find things that, like, we could find to optimize here. But honestly, like, T-Tar is kind of just a good mon. 252 Brave, Terra Blast, and make it Grass. Right there. So 114 into an Urshiwater, like, that's good. At -1, we don't get the KO from, like, an Intimidate, but that's fine. I mean, that's all you would really need. I think that, like, honestly, like, you're probably just fine with... I mean... you're probably just fine with what you kind of had, you know? But you got to make it 0 speed. I think that you're fine. You got to make it 0 speed. You could put some more in bulk, but, like, I think that, honestly, like, with how I played the team, like, I want to hit as hard as possible. And so, like, I want the most attack. And so, like, I don't want to take points out of respective HP to put in these other stats because it's just not worth it. And I always want to do more damage. So it's fine. Like, this is a banded T-Tar. It's built different. Also, like, the T-Tar, I don't know if that calc we had here, we had a choice band on. They're like, big damn, like, you big done. Like, hell, if you, like, Terrastalize away, you still might almost die to a Terra Blast Grass. Even if you Terra into something that's neutral. It's nuts. Like, T-Tar's kind of busted. All right, Cress. I like this a lot. You're utilizing your nature on the right spot. You have heavy HP investment. I like this a lot. If you can, try and get this to be 0 or as low speed as possible. Just my opinion. I think it's important. That's basically it. Because you want to be able to, you want to be lower speed just to be able to actually hit things with Psychic if you have to. You can also make this Psychic into a Moonblast and put like 12 points there to make sure you can KO Urshi Dark if they're not, or like clock their Sash. That being said, you don't need to. I like Psychic. It's good into Amoonguss and stuff like that. And I do like and understand the Grass Terror here is make it so Amoongusses can't hit you and you can always Lunar Busting your teammates. Like, I understand that. That being said, with his hands here, I think we need some, we don't need to be this high attack. You're getting humongous diminishing returns on hands with this much. I think 196 is the last place that I go to on hands, but like, let's check out some stuff here. 196. Let's see, where's the bump happen? Right there. That's the bump, right? The bump happens when you see, if we take out 8 points, we go from 196 to 198, and this happens when you combine your nature with the fact that you're putting in these points. So this is enough, right? This is enough. I also think that you could honestly just put the vest back on this guy. It's just a good item. It's solid. What I understand that you're probably thinking like, oh, I don't need all these points in bulk that you're going to put in because like I have close combat and like that's fair. But at the same time, like you need to be able to actually soak that first hit before you start like plowing through things. So that being said, I think you need to put some points in defense. I usually put about 60. If you can put about 60 points in a respective defense, you're throwing off your opponent's calcs by about 5%. So let's just take a look at this. It might be kind of a weird example with Iron Hands here. So we got Iron Hands because it has like such a weird stat line. But let's just throw it off. So Iron Hands right here, and then like let's plug in a let's use like a good physical attacker. You don't want to use anything weird like a Shen Pao because that has that sort of ruin that shreds. You could use an Urshifu. Yeah, we'll just use Urshifu. Because like Urshifu's very, very standard. So let's plug in like an Urshifu and make it level 50 and give it like close combat and full attack investment, right? Very, very standard situation you'd find your hands in. So our hands initial set had 28 points in HP, which isn't really mitigating anything. It's just kind of just there. You can see it makes close combat go from 42% to 41. 1% for 28 points, not that much investment. We were talking about putting 60 points in defense. So right now this is doing 41 to 49. So we put the 60 points here. We're mitigating that from 41 to 39, which isn't as effective, right? It's not. It's not as effective as hands as a freaking weird jerk, right? But usually you're throwing off your opponent's calcs by about 5%. Let's see, 42% of 40. I mean, that's kind of almost there. If it was 5% of that, like not 5% off this number, but 5% in total. So like it might end up being something of value. It's usually just a good threshold to look by putting yourself a little bit different. Because like if your opponent's basically EV trained to break this, right? If like maybe their set is this. You see how like that could technically, it's a 5% chance to 2-ko. Let's take away the grassy terrain. 69% chance to 2-ko. And if we put in the 60 points right here, that goes down by about 50% of that. It can still do it, but you see how it's a lot less likely. And especially when we add in our 28 points here, 2.3% chance. Let's make that a 0. Right there, 84. 0% chance for that to KO ever. Not that it ever really is going to come into play, but hey, you know what? We're doing things. 84. And we still have extra points that we can put basically wherever we want for any reason. Might as well just go. See, then we have extra points down there. So 236. Now this is something that I think is hard to explain, but you have a speed reduced hands, and I think you should keep a speed reduced hands. But at the end of the day, like, let me actually check this. Yeah, let me think what I want to do. if this was me, I know I talked about getting like speed reduced on these guys. If you can't get a speed reduced one and you have these extra points, you could even just do something like that. Right there. And make it so you outspeed other people's hands. And if that's the case, you might even want to do something like 12 points here to be able to make sure you outspeed them. But like, I don't think this is necessarily wrong, because you're just trying to make sure like when you see their other hands and you're outside of Trick Room, you can just go like fake out them confidently, pretty confidently, because they're going to be built on a Trick Room team with that speed reduced 0 speed, so you should be able to fake out those. And if not, like, you know, most hands still have some speed, so you should still be fine. So I would go with something like this. I think it's just a little bit better. Ursaluna, this is fine. I think that like there's nothing really that you need to do. This HP stat is very bloated. You're going to need diminishing returns on some of these. So I would just cut out at least like that 4 in like a 4-4 here. Another thing is you usually want to end your health with a 9 if you're playing with a Life Orb. So you can go all the way down there and you can put these respectively in their defenses where you need them. So that being said, like what do we want to do? So 164, let's go back. We got Urshifu. Let's go Urshi Water because it's a popular Pokemon. And let's give ourselves like 252 Surging Strikes. And let's plug in a Blood Moon. And we had 156, right? 164. 164 here. So you can see the Surging Strikes does a lot. What's going to set this to level 50? They do a lot. They can actually KO us, but we're going to be able to put a lot into defense. We have a total of 60 points to put in defense. Remember that 60 I was talking about earlier, right? So you can see it goes from 86, 103 to if we put in 60, it goes to 94. So we're not dead, right? We actually will be able to live that and then be able to fire off back a Blood Moon and just OHKO it, right? So really good stuff. Also, like we could just put this, like let's say we had like 220, right? That's 220. We did just like, you know, we would still die if we put those just in HP, kind of how you had before. So it's a little bit better, I think, to do it like this. That way you can mitigate the damage a little bit. You take 1 less point every single time you're using your Life Orb as well. And yeah, I think it's just a little bit better. Specifically putting those points in defense. We got to put them, we got to move them around a little bit. Right. There. Putting those points specifically in defense is also going to help versus Waterpon and versus other monsters that normally just give us a lot of problems. So I like this a lot. I think it's fair. And it should work fine. As for the Ape, I think you're doing fine here. I like Phantom Force over Rage Fist. Just my personal opinion on this. Being able to come in those late game situations and like weave in Phantom Force, make them over, respect that slot, come back in, break protect on something and hit them with your teammate. I like that a lot. I think I've seen a lot of other people just use Shadow Claw. I don't like Rage Fist here. It's just too weak. You never get anything. Like if you ever have to click it on your lead, you're probably going to lose that game. And it's almost bait, right? I just don't like it. I even think like coaching would be like a better option right here. So that being said, I don't really like Rage Fist. I'm going to put Phantom Force here. Feel free to go back to Rage Fist or use Shadow Claw. It's completely up to you. I just really like this option. But you really need to make this into a Grass Terra. You really got to make this into a Grass Terra. This way you can actually avoid Rage Powder, right? So you can still hit the things you want to hit. It came up in like 2 of the games where they had a Moongus, and if they would have led correctly, we couldn't have hit the things we needed to hit. And you're also wasting 4 points. You just put those in attack because sometimes you hit things, right? So pretty good stuff. I think the team's doing a lot of things right. I also think that because you have Grass Terror, you can actually make this back into Defiant, and now if they lead in Sin, you can just pop them in the mouth, right? Pretty good stuff. So that being said, I'm going to play a game with the team, right? Last time I did one of these little guides, I didn't play a game with the team. You guys requested games with the team after we fixed it. So let's go into a game with the team and see if any of these changes actually help. Pretty standard. So we got final Gambit potential. All right, I like that. I'm down for 8 mirrors. I'm down to get some trades going. That being said, we have Ghost Terra Porygon. So like, I'm going to go Porygon probably. What are they going to do? Like, taunt me? Taunt me? Like, we have Crest that we can just pivot in for. So I'm going to go Porygon. And I want to see, what are their items? It's probably going to be Scarf here. It could be Setup Ape. It could definitely be, but I think it's Scarf. I think it's going to be Sash here, Wellspring. We have the Citrus. I'm thinking AV, and I don't know what this guy's thing is yet. I'm thinking it's Cloak. It's kind of hard to say. It could be still Rocky Helmet or something. But I'm going to go with Porygon as my lead. And I kind of want to go Hands, because I think Hands is just good into all of these. So Hands is great. Yeah, you can intimidate me. I will close combat the crap out of you. And then we're going to bring, I think, Cress and T-Tar. I like T-Tar here. T-Tar's good in a lot of those. So there's their Ape and the Wimps. So they can go like taunt Final Gambit in this slot. But see, they can't if that's not cloaked. Right? You like this? I like this value here. So we're going to go Ghost Terra, Trick Room into a Fake Out here. You can totally do whatever you want. Like, Trick Room's up. We just got it up. Show me that Gambit. Show it to me. Bulk up. Cool. Trick Room's up. Like, I don't care that you're that Ape. Because, like, now we got the special attack boost, too, by the way. Like, Oh, yes. And I kind of want to wild charge it. I'm in close combat this insane. I'm not doing anything else today. Like, we have a -1 attack, but like, you know, we got the booster energy. So like, we're actually still hitting really hard. You can fake out. Look at this Terra Blast. Oh my gosh, this Porygon is nuts. Oh my gosh, this Iron Hands is nuts. Do you see this? You see what I mean though? You see what I mean? Like, Porygon makes this team so much better at dealing with those like weird chonky things. Like, Annihilate would have tore up Cress. Like, we were required to use Cress and they just got a bulk up off on the first turn. Cress would have had such a, like, Cress hands would have had like an impossible time breaking an Annihilate. And now we're just like, I'm the captain now. Like, it's over. It's GG's. I'm gonna put this timer on. What are you gonna do about it? Oh my gosh, dude, that was nuts. Yeah, dude, Porygon hits like a truck. 187 special attack. That's higher than a boosted hands, intimidated hands like attack is. And we Oko the instant. So like, you know they have the whims, right? What do we think they're gonna bring out? Like Waterpon? I don't really care. Dundee, I don't really care. Bolt, I don't care. I can even like protect here, pivot in my Cress, read them double protecting to like wait out the TR, and then Trick Room my own Trick Room and get a fresh set of pain in my Trick Room. It's just so nice. It's good. Yeah, this person is like super done. But hey, that's pretty much it. Like, I like fixing these sort of teams that you guys submit. So I just want to say thank you so much for submitting this team. I really did like it, and I think that it's a great way to play Trick Room, like a middle of the pack Trick Room team. I think people like to use the term middle of pack to see like it's an average team. No, this team like basically can bully other Trick Rooms. It's great in these more aggressive teams that don't have good Trick Room answers, and it doesn't fall prey to the same things that like hard TR teams fall prey to. Yes, I do think the Imprison is still a problem, and I do think the best way to deal with that is to maybe lead like Porygon and Iron Hands and go like protect the first turn and just like pop their Flutter if it's like Imprison Flutter. I feel like you can just actually take your 1L to like Imprison, because you're only gonna, 1 out of every 10 games is probably gonna be Imprison. So I'm taking this game. They can be salty McSaltersons all they want. Like, this game's absolutely over. And yeah, that's basically it. So if you guys have a team, oh my gosh, they're still playing. Oh my gosh, they're so salty. They're so salty. Salt. We'll type it up for them. Bam, salt. Okay. Yeah, dude, they're trying to waste as much of my time as possible. All right, that's fine. I think that they have a sash here, but I don't really care. You just want to double into this slot. Like, what are you doing here? There's no answers. So we just go Terra Blast right there. And we'll just heavy slam that thing right there. You can follow me, like, it doesn't really matter. We'll take these wins. This guy can wait until literally every single cow jumps over the moon and comes home. There's no way that they get the win. But yeah, if you guys have a team you want to submit and you want me to take a look at it, you want me to make a video about it, think about checking out the Patreon. I'm doing my best to work on one of these every single day. Basically, I wake up, I answer all my YouTube comments, I make a video like this where I fix a team, and then I go and do like either some coaching sessions or like a Twitch stream or, you know, something like that. Sometimes I'll go into one of those team building guides where I make like a much more extensive guide. Ivy Culture doesn't do anything because Porygon's kind of busted. We can even recover here if we want to. I will, because I can. I'm going to pivot in my Cress, and like would never lose here. We would never, ever lose. I mean, there's no reason for our hands to just like try and fight this thing anymore. Like, we're at minus like 1 million stats. We just pivot in the Crest, break the wrist, walk away. And yeah, that's pretty much it. What an anticlimactic ending. But we've already fixed like 2 or 3 of these teams. And yeah, I like all the teams people are submitting. I'm surprised to see so many people have Scizor teams submitted. Like, Scizor's a really, really underrated mon. Dude, this person is so mad. They're so mad. Like, how many, like, show of hands, if you guys have gotten this far into the video, let me know. Do you ever get people that do this to you when you, like, outplay the crap out of them? Like, oh, it's just so nice. Take a free recover, what you can do about it? Ivy Cultural? Nah, we're good. And so, Trick Room. Show me the spiky shield. The outplays. Like, what it gives us a fresh set of paint anyways. Like, I'm not threatened. Even if you crit the Porygon, I'm not threatened. Like, it doesn't do anything. Show me the spiky shield. Just show it to me. Show me the spiky shield. Let's let the outplays continue. It's not playing with my food if I'm showing how to do things correctly, right? Come on. Do the spiky shield. Do it. Do it. Come on. Come on. Even if they don't, like, it really doesn't matter. Spiky shield. Spiky shield. Spiky shield. Spiky shield. Come on. You're like, this guy have one more turn. Ah, I didn't do it. He didn't get the crit, though. He did get the crit. It's fine. So we just get a fresh set of paint in our Trick Room. And we'll recover here. Just weave in a Psychic. Like, hey. We're still good. Like, there's nothing you can do, bro. Porygon just dump trucked you. But it's okay. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to talk about? I just want to say thank you guys for watching all my videos. I've been working hard. I don't know if you guys can tell. But I've been working a lot harder at making consistent content that I think actually helps people learn how to play VGC. I've been going to a lot of events. I've been working. I've been grinding. I've been making content on TikTok, Instagrams. I've been making some reels and stuff like that. So yeah, it just feels good to actually see like the work that I put in have an impact on the people that are actually learning more about VGC. And that's just such a good thing to see. All right, here we go. Do this again. Recover again. Psychic. Can you spit F drop? Never lucky, bro. Never lucky. I'm going to go for a Lunar Blessing instead of just popping him in the mouth. Like, again, there's no possible way this guy wins. He could crit every single turn. I wonder if the right thing to do in this situation, because this guy is so salty. I wonder if the right play is to like take a lot of time and like make him wait too, or then like maybe also just like let him PP out of Ivy Cudgels, right? You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, we're here all week. I love this feeling. Like, it sucks that we're trying to record a video and it's supposed to be like fast, fun, and effective and educational. But like personally, when people do this, it just lets me relish in the fact that, yeah, see what I mean? Like, I get to be better than them longer. Oh, dude, it's such a good feeling. So yeah, that guy's so mad. Mad cause bad. We take those ones all the way to the bank. Like, take a look at the first turn. This guy thought he had moves. He had no moves. Download proc. That's all we needed to win the game was that download proc. Doesn't matter. You pivot in the Ensign. Go Ghost. Block the potential final Gambit. So the defensive play turns into the aggressive play. And that's something that like Porygon adds that like Rillaboom would really not be adding on this team. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys have a team you guys want to submit, think about checking out the Patreon. We're doing our very best to work on all these. Some people want their teams fixed on stream. Some people want their teams fixed in a video like this. This one I decided to do in a video because I feel I wanted to take the time to like actually talk about, you know, what I really liked. I really also, again, I think I talked about this before, I really like how in-depth your write-up is. It really helps me analyze like where the team's faults are and what we need to do to fix them. So thank you so much to Zero for submitting this team. If you guys have a team you want to submit, even the lowest tier, the 2-hour tier, it's access to all of these teams, all of the team fixing, all of the rental codes that I use. I've been featuring some really, really cool rental codes. The Iron Leaves team that used the other day, that Sand team we used the other day. So there's a bunch of really cool stuff. Think about checking it out. And other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out. I'll see you guys next time.